Welcome back. Election day is getting closer and closer, but with the amount of information and misinformation circulating, it can be tough to figure out where Canadians really stand on the big issues.
To give us a better idea of what matters most to voters right now, Shachi Kurl, the president of the Angus Reid Institute, joins us on the show. Shachi, it's always good to have you here. And the timing is perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. So we're going to kick off with this first question. You say that the election playbook, it has just been thrown out the window.
It's gone.
What do you mean by that?
Burned.
What do you
It's been
mean?
shredded.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what we saw going into this election season, think about all of last year and the year before. What were the big issues to all of you? Cost of living, housing, inflation, the cost of your mortgage, not being able to find an apartment. Now it's one thing. It's Trump. It's Trump, it's Trump, it's Trump, it's Trump. And that has flipped the whole political playbook on its head, because when he got sworn in and he started talking about annexation and he started saying, I am going to tariff the crap out of your country, Canadians went, you can't do that.
Right.
That's not okay. And we saw a big surge in national pride. And that, yes, we have. Big surge in national pride, and that's led to a moment of unity. Now, there's always a difference. We saw it in Me Too. We saw it around COVID. There's a moment and there's a movement. And the big question is whether this has lasting power. But there's only, 2 weeks until advance voting?
Yeah.
3 weeks until election day? So the big question is, will that sense of national pride and coming together and rallying around the flag, and more importantly, around politicians who are meeting that energy where Canadians are at, that angry energy, that hell no energy? And that's where we're seeing this big surge for the Liberals coming out of nowhere. That plus the fact that, Canada's ex-boyfriend, Justin Trudeau, decided to leave exit station. So that had a big factor, too.
So what do Canadians want to see when it comes to Canada's retaliation against the U.S. tariffs?
Yeah, they want to play hardball. They really do. When we ask the question, do you want to keep retaliatory tariffs on? Do you want to fight the good fight as long as possible? What if it makes a difference to your own household budget? Or conversely, what if there was money in it for you not to fight? Canadians are like, we cannot be bought. But when it comes to if this meant a job loss in my household, if it meant a severe hit to my own household's financial situation, that might have a bit of a difference. But we're talking about big, big hit versus paying more for groceries or more for a new car. So they're pretty elbows up.
So let's talk about what you mentioned before, Trump's threat, of course, to make Canada the 51st state. 90% of Canadians are in opposition to this. Who makes up that 10% who are on board?
Who are those people? Who are you? Let's remember that about 6% of the country in the last federal election voted for the People's Party of Canada, right? There are a lot of people, for whatever reasons, for whatever is going on in their life, are feeling marginalized, feel like they're not part of the country, feel like they're not part of mainstream society, whether that's right-wing or left-wing. They very much feel marginalized and left out. There is also a segment, I want to be really clear, it's not the majority of conservative voters in this country, but there is a segment of Canadian voters who vote conservative who also they admire Trump and they admire what's happening in the U.S. And the idea that the Liberals could form a fourth term, win a fourth term and govern for another 4 years if it's a majority, they are so fed up with that. They're like, I'd rather join the States than live in a world. But again, it's not the majority, right? We're talking about 1 in 10 people. How you look at that, 1 in 10 people can feel like a lot of people, or we can recognize that it is also a slice of society.
I know, and we see it with Danielle Smith, so it's not like we're not seeing those people who are out there who are supporting him. Now, aside from our dislike, our collective dislike for Donald Trump, what would you say is the biggest shift that we've seen when it comes to Canadians' priorities since the last election?
Last election was how many lifetimes ago? It was 4 years ago. We were in mask mandates and vaccine mandates in the last election. The cost of living crisis was no thing. Those were the last years of really low interest rates and lower labor costs, and everything was okay for that time. So the cost of living has continued to be a huge issue. And now it's starting to do this weird thing where it's marrying up with the Trump factor. And Canadians are starting to put together the fact that tariffs will actually objectively make their cost of living even worse. And that's a factor too. But when we ask Canadians, what do you care the most about? Cost of living and inflation continues to be the big driving issue, whether you're a Conservative voter, a Liberal voter, or an NDP voter. There's fewer of them these days.
Wow.
But I think you're also cutting this up in striations along gender lines, because you say that priorities between men and women are different.
Yes, and again, we're talking about generalities.
Okay.
It's because I know people are going to be watching at home and thinking, well, I don't feel that way, and I'm a woman or I'm a man. But in general, we tend to see, women often managers of the household finances, often the ones doing the grocery shopping. As much as things have changed, in many ways they haven't changed that much. So they're the ones thinking about, like, where is my government on healthcare funding? Where is my government on dental care and on pharmacare and on making sure that that daycare stays in place? And where are we on expanding or at least maintaining the social safety net? Whereas men, particularly men of a certain age, tend to be a little bit more, what's my tax rate? And what's going on with government spending? Because it is great to have all of these social programs, but at some point, we've looked at our productivity levels in this country go off a cliff, and they're not in good shape either. So those tend to be the lines over which we tend to see men leaning one way, women leaning the other, and then it has a big impact on how they park their vote.
Would you speak about undecided voters? Are there any? Like, are there still Canadians who are on the fence?
It's less that they're on the fence, like totally on the fence. The ones who are truly like, I don't know, are probably not going to show up to vote on E-Day. That is just a reality, and I've seen that watching many elections over time. But there are those who haven't locked in their vote, and this is really important because left of center voters, those who are more likely to say that they're voting for the Liberal Party this time around, they're much also more likely to say that we could change our mind. We could still change our mind. Conservative voters are like, not changing our mind, definitely voting the way we want to vote. If it was legal, we would vote twice, because that is how enthusiastic and motivated we are to cast our ballots.
Do you feel like there's going to be less voter apathy? Like, we know, I think we said statistically, like less than 50% of people generally come out for an election. Do you think that there's less voter apathy this time around?
So actually, the last 3 elections, I can tell you, were 62%, 60%, and 70%.
Oh, that's good.
This time, I think we're going to see it higher than 62% for sure.
So. Everybody go out and vote.
Go out and vote. Yeah.
Shachi, thank you, as always, for being here and shedding some light into this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're going to be right back. Just don't go anywhere.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.